In the digital realm where the bytes align, there's a hacker named Tiberius, one of a kind, with a mind like a vault and skills so defined. He breaks through the web, leaving no trace behind. On Web App Wednesday, he's the star of the stream, guiding you through cyberspace, where the data gleams with auto-recon. He starts to scheme, mapping networks, fulfilling his dreams. Creator of tools that cut like a knife, auto-recon to child, it's his hacking life. 2 courses of privilege, he escalates the scene from the ground to the cloud. He's the hacking machine, but beware of the trap, the SQL deceit. R1 equals 1, the trick's so obsolete. He hates it the most, it's a lazy feat. For Tiberius seeks challenges, he won't accept defeat. On Web App Wednesday, watch him unveil the secrets of hacking without any fail. With wisdom and passion, he tells his tale. In the world of cyber, he always prevails. So here's to Tiberius, the ethical hacker with flair. On his live stream journey, he takes you there to the depths of web apps with time to spare. He's a guardian of the net with knowledge to share.
Hello. Let's put some. All right, let's put some music on, not by AI. There we go. Tiberius will do karaoke with all of his AI songs. You know what? If we do the Only Feet karaoke at DEF CON this year, yes, we will definitely do. I have tons of AI songs I would definitely sing at karaoke. So yes, me and Wolfie will do a duet. We'll do many duets. I know he'd be up for it. Especially the Molt the Manatee song, which I could play if enough people want me to. Nobody's gonna understand it. The only people that are gonna understand the references are gonna be people who are in the Only Feet Discord, which is not a lot of us. Yeah, we made a Molt the Manatee. So I gotta explain Molt the Manatee now. It was my birthday, and for my birthday, me and a bunch of friends in the Only Feet Discord played a bunch of Jackbox games, and Among Us I think we played as well, but mostly Jackbox. And in one of the Jackbox games, I think it's Job, right? So like, you write like answers to prompts, and then you get given other people's answers, but like jumbled up, and you have to like build another answer using only words from their prompt. And I got, unbeknownst to me, I got one of Wolfie's prompts. Wolfie's in chat, right? And he mentioned, he mentioned single malt whiskey and also a manatee. There was something about a manatee at one part, and then single malt whiskey in another part. And so I like combined that and created Molt the Manatee, which is, and then a meme was born. And then, hang on, I've got the stickers here. And then I got Wimmery, who's an artist in the cybersecurity space, to create this amazing sticker. There we go. Yeah, a bottle of Everclear, a 6-pack of malt liquor, and a manatee. So created stickers, and then I used AI to generate a couple of songs. There was one There's one song that's more, I guess, quote unquote adult themed, because we figured Molt the Manatee used to have a friend, and we came up with Dick the Dolphin. Wimmery's in chat. Hey, go follow. Let's do a shout out for Wimmery. Go follow Wimmery, everybody. There we go. Wimmery is in the cybersecurity space, also an amazing artist. Yeah, so so there's like, I mean, okay, it's a server called OnlyFeet, so we're a bunch of weirdos. So we created Dick the Dolphin, who's kind of just a bit of a pervert's the wrong net. Pervert has a bad. It's not a pervert. He's just a bit weird. Anyway, so we did that, but then we also came up with so we had that song, and then we also had I also generated a children's TV show. I'm gonna have to play these now, right? Hang on. They're too good not to play. That's the issue. All right, where the hell are we? All right, which Molt the Manatee song is the children's one? That's the question.
Thank you for following.
Alright, I gotta go. I've created too many freaking songs. There's an OnlyFeet diss track in here. That was at some point. Oh, God. Okay, Molt the Manatee. Who wants to hear Molt the Manatee, the kids version? Sorry, I'm checking Twitter a minute. Alright, I don't know how loud this is going to be, though. Also, I don't know if this is... Alright, you know what I'll do? We'll play the video version. Here. Oh, here we go. All right. We haven't raced yet. We'll do a race in a minute. All right. Here's Molt the Manatee, the kids. Okay, actually, let me see how loud it's going to be. Actually. Okay, we can probably turn it up a little bit. Again, this is just a meme, but anyway.
Mount the Manatee, he's round and he's blue. Hates Cybertrucks, that's for sure, dude. Elon Musk rockets, he thinks they're a bore. Under the waves, there's so much more. Mount the Manatee, swims with the fish, he's happy and free. Dick the Dolphin's his best friend, you see. Together they play in the sun
so good.
and the sea. Mount's got a drill, it's cordless and neat. Cheese gave it to him, a neighbor so sweet. They built sandcastle wonders or watery feet. With a flick of his tail, the waves gently meet. adventures abound. There's never a down. Under the ocean, there's no room to frown. Singing and splashing, all day they clown. Malt and his friends making the ocean sound.
This needs to be a TV show, I swear. We've got a winner here. Perfect. All right. Right, webcam. There we go. Yes. So anyway, you could hate on AI music. Don't hate on Malt though. Malt's amazing. Malt is the best thing. Anyway, the whole backstory. There's a bunch of server memes in there you will understand. Like the cordless drill that Cheese gave to him is a meme from like literally 2 years ago. So yeah, we need a Malt emo. I will make a Malt emo. I mean I have the file. I could do it. We'll make a Malt emo. But me and Wolfie need to sing that at karaoke at DEF CON. It's too good. Too damn good. All right. What I missed in chat. I haven't been paying attention to chat. Under the Waves, there's so much more slaps unreasonably hard. It really does. It's it's a really good song for a children's TV show. That's the stupid thing. Oh man. Moldian dicks doesn't work. Mold should have a friend named Mold. That's definitely Al, isn't it? Yeah. All right, let me put the actual regular music back on. All right, we'll do a marble race to start the stream off for sure. Marbles. That's 90% elimination. 29%. There we go. That's better. Oh, I know, Ruby. I have so many more. I need to. I'm in the process of putting them on Spotify. I figured out a way to do it. I have so many songs. It's unreal. Did anyone hear the? Hey, before we actually do the marble race, did anyone hear the country sim song? Sim spelled SIEM. Because honestly, I think that might be my favorite, and I'm not even a big fan of country music, but that song totally slaps. I got people on Twitter to suggest like songs that I could create using AI, and I forget who did that one. I forget who came up with that one, but that was amazing. That actually, it's a combination of the actual song is good, like the actual music, and the lyrics are amazing. But maybe we'll do that one later. All right. Exclamation point play in chat on Twitch if you want to join the marble race. Oh my goodness, there's a shark. So yes. By the way, I start at NetSpy tomorrow, so that's cool. I'm not sure, so I'm gonna have to talk to my new manager about whether I can stream during the day. So I will let you know. So Monday might be a bit odd. I don't know if Monday I'll be streaming, or like at 2. If I don't stream at 2, it'll be back to the 5 p.m. old schedule, right? Like we won't miss the stream on Monday, but if it does happen, it will be at a later time, maybe. All right, who's ahead? MRTK 94. Oh, hang on. West Shaft is out and immediately into... Oh, no. Not into trouble, actually. Vinyo Janos dead, unfortunately. GoPro Sloyo and West Shaft. And Arubius, actually. Arubius coming through. Arubius basically missing all of those. That was incredible. GoPro Sloyo as well. The Kicked Droid and West Shaft. Basically between Arubius and GoPro, I think, right now. Arubius definitely in first place right now. With a kind of a skip. And falls into the front basket there. That's definitely putting him ahead. All right, can Arubius hold on to this lead? Again with a big skip here. Wow. Usually that sort of hitting that stops you, and it kind of did for Arubius actually. But he is still going on. All right, can Arubius... He does find one of the holes here. All right. As well as Kicked Droid. Arubius is still ahead. Can he... Yes, he can. I was going to say, can he get past the spinny paddles? And he did. GoPro Sloyo, though, dead. Uh-oh. Don't jinx it. Arubius is going to win. Now it's jinxed. Oh, no skip here. Or kind of a skip. But Ninka, I already jinxed it. The jinx worked. What an epic run from Ninka. I think that's how you pronounce it. Still got to find one of these holes and wins it. Will there be another race? Possibly later. Alright, Particle de Dieu. Right at the back. Last but not least. Will they escape the flames? Ooh, it's going to be close. It's going to be very close. No, they didn't. Died. All right, well done, Ninka. Okay. What are we going to do? I came across this. So, TryHackMe released this room. yesterday. XXC. We've done it on the stream a few times, but it is quite fun. So given that it is Web App Wednesday, and this is it is a walkthrough room, but we can basically just kind of like, you know, we don't actually need to walk through anything. So I think this would be good. Yeah, it's going to explain XML entities, which we've already done. If you've been on this stream before, you know what XML entities are. Other than that, we obviously did this one on Monday. This was actually a good box. I don't think there's anything else. DOM-based tax, I guess, maybe? We'll see. This reminds me of wait, that wasn't. Is it this one? There we go, the DOM look. Look, I told you, chat. I told you it looked like this. This is the DOM. All right. Let's do this room. Through it. Dog cat's good. Oh, hi Zero Day. Yeah. We did dog cat. We did dog cat years ago, I think. I'm pretty sure when the PHP LFI thing came out. Yeah, when the LFI to RSC thing came out, we tried it on dog cat originally. So yeah, they haven't patched it, which is funny. Most of the include boxes on Try Hack Me are vulnerable to it. Only child sad face? Yeah. This is an only child. Technically, HTML is an only child. I guess it's not really a child. I mean, it depends if you call it a child or not. But yes. All right. All right. Let me double check my burp suite's working properly. Okay. All right. Okay, we did that. After 3 minutes visit. Oh, okay. Shit, I messed up. I did it after just about 2. All right, what's this exploiting XML crap? What's the meaning of the acronym SGML? It's. I mean, I know what the ML. I can guess the S is simple, but let me. I don't know. Where's standard? Oh, that makes sense. You don't have to know acronyms in this industry. I know what this one is, though. This should be doc type definition. Yeah. No, wait, what? I swear that's what DTD used to mean. Did I just spell it wrong? Where the fuck is TTD? Oh, I mean, come on. I shortened document type to doc type. But fine, all right. Is it even Wednesday if there are no web apps? It is not. Okay, what XML parser builds the entire XML document into a memory-based tree structure? Oh god, I don't know. Apparently this one. We just DOM parser them? Okay, so we need to go to the contact.php page. I'm going to fill out the form. I'm going to put Tiberius. Tiberius at tiberius.com. And the message, hello. Actually, please subscribe. Cool. All right, let's have a look at that message in here. Send this to repeater. Please turn down the volume. Which volume? The music? Or me? What's too loud? Okay, the music. All right. I can do that. Is that better? Did we get a subscription that I missed? I guess not. Okay, so this is basically sending an XML document. And if you note what happens when we send it, it says thank you, Tiberius. Alright, so basically it's taking the name here and reflecting it back, which is useful. So what we can do is if we grab... We're not going to do this exactly, but yeah. We don't need that. Okay, so we're going to add a doc type, and I'm actually going to take out system for now. And what we're going to do is I'm going to put Tiberius as a string here. So we've defined a doc type directly after the XML declaration here. We've called doc type foo. This really doesn't matter. This can be named anything. And then the doc type is contained within these square brackets. Okay. So this is basically the contents of the doc type. We have an entity tag. We've called the entity XXE, and we've given it a string, which is just Tiberius. Now what happens is we replace the actual string Tiberius in the document with a reference, and the references always begin with an ampersand, and then the name of the entity, and then a semicolon. Okay? So, just as in HTML, if you want to do a less than symbol, right, you do ampersand LT for less than, and then a semicolon. All right, this actually also works in XML. This is one of the 5 standard entities in XML. The others are greater than, ampersand, so and amp. There's also and quote or double quote, and usually ampersand. It's technically you can put apos for apostrophe. But you can also give it the other standardized name. Sorry, the hex code. But those are the 5 standard sort of entities. But what we've defined here is a custom entity called XXE with a string Tiberius. So if I just give it XXE here and send, hopefully if it works, yay, it still says Tiberius. Okay. And I can change that. I can put Tiberius 2. And it'll update Tiberius 2. Okay. So that's just a regular custom entity. What we can also do is we can define another entity here. And let's call it XXE2. And within the string, we can do references to entities. So we can do a reference to XXE. Okay? So this entity XXE2 is referencing XXE, which is this entity. And so now if I do entity 2 down here, instead, what should happen, we still get Tiberius. Okay? Because we called the reference to XXE2, which in turn calls the reference to XXE, which in turn is just a string Tiberius. And what you can do is you can get fancy with this. We could put in, for example, let's do 5 references to XXE in XXE2. And then we get Tiberius 5 times. Okay? And we could keep this going, technically. So depending on if recursion is enabled, what you can do is you can create XXE3, and XXE3 contains 5 references to XXE2. And then if we reference XXE3 down here, provided recursion is enabled, you get 25 Tiberius. Okay. But we can do more than that. We can create. We can give this entity a keyword system. And what system says, or what system tells the XML parser is, hey, this string here is technically a reference to some kind of resource. All right, it's not just a string. Basically, treat it like a reference to a resource, and it doesn't really. It allows it lets the parser decide how to figure out where the resource is based on the string. Now, in most parsers, this happens via URIs. All right, so if you gave it an HTTP, right, get an HTTP string, it would send an HTTP request to that URL. All right, but if you give it a file URI, let's do etc password, then potentially what it could do is it could actually look up the contents of the etc password file, which is what it does here. So I assume that's what it wants us to do. What XSE vulnerability occurs when the server response is immediately disclosed to the attacker without the use of external channels? I'm not sure what it exactly means here. Oh, they want me to say inbound XXE. Okay. What is the contents of the file? This file in the /opt directory. All right, we'll figure that out. So we just have to do /opt/this. There we go. Any questions about that? All right, we'll move on. GoPro can't even hear me? Really? My mic is apparently it's good. It's not. It's going into the orange area. It's between -20 and -10 decibels. It should be okay. Are you still muted, GoPro, from the fact you didn't want to listen to the music? Oh, well, I mean, to be fair to them, GoPro, like, if the music is too loud so that it's actually affecting my voice, then that's a valid point. I'm sure they're aware they can turn down the volume overall, but perhaps they tried that and they couldn't hear me. Like, I think it's valid when you haven't got the balance perfectly right. This. You know what streaming's like. Sometimes the music's way too loud. You can't hear people. Okay. All right, what we got here? Exploiting XXE out of band. Okay, so we're going to go to the index.php file. Drag and drop a file here, or click to select a file. Okay, well, let's create an XML file, I guess. Do they give us one to just... Yeah, here we go. Alright, so we're not going to do this yet. What we'll do is we'll just show you what's going to happen. You don't need this element thing. You really don't. So I disagree with this, but... Alright, we're going to just do a string, which is going to be Tiberius again. We'll save this. I'll put it in the... Actually, what's this box called? XXE injection is the room. Come on. There we go. We'll call it file.xml, I guess. Okay. So if I go to home directory, try hack me, C, file.xml. Okay. And then view it. There we go. Look. So Tiberius has indeed gone there. And then if we do... I'm not actually sure what the hell this is supposed to show, because presumably we could just get this the regular way. So hang on a minute. File. Okay, no. It is interesting though, it didn't work. Because that's the thing, it says the code above doesn't return the values of the submitted XML data, but it kind of did here. Like it returns Tiberius there. I guess we can Google what this means. This might have disabled it. Okay, no, that's fine. DTD load. Load the external DTD subset. Yeah. Well, let me try something else. Let me try hostname. Maybe the password file was too long. Right, yeah, I'm just gonna reset. I'm just gonna send this one in repeater. We're gonna change it to hostname. There we go. We refresh this. I don't know why that's not working, but okay. Oops. So we have to go back here. Yeah, strange. Oh, oh. Oh, hang on a minute. Is that XXE in the frickin'... Oh, that's fascinating. All right, so there's actually kind of an XXE vulnerability in Firefox then. So you see how I'm browsing. This is from the server. I've loaded this from the server, and it said that the file is Tiberius. When I go to the views, but this is the XML renderer technically, right? So this line tells me that I'm in the XML renderer in Firefox. If I go to the view source page, right? So basically, you take the URL and you put view source in front of it. It then discloses that this is the actual document that gets returned. Okay, and we can also see that by if we go here. This is the actual raw request to this XML file, and yes, indeed, it's returning there. So this is a client-side XXE kind of thing. However, it's limited. It looks like, because obviously. In this case, where I gave it the file, right? This one. This does not include the actual Etsy password fault. So presumably it can't do external entities. Yeah. So it's slightly limited. Yeah, no. So the XML being parsed by Firefox is fine. What's unusual is that it would do any kind of entity conversion. Now I'm actually kind of interested in what happens if we try and do recursive. If recursive is enabled, that's bad. So what we'll do is we'll create this entity XXE as Tiberius again. We'll then do XXE2. And we'll reference XXE twice. And do that. Okay. Oh, that's bad. So here's the problem. Is you could literally... Exactly, Rubius. That Rubius is thinking like a hacker. So let's do 10 XXEs. Actually, let's do this the proper way. So usually what you would do is you call this X0, and instead of Tiberius, you would put LOL. And I'm going to put LOL with a space. And then X1 is going to be the X0 10 times. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then what we're going to do is we're going to copy X1 and we're going to rename it to X2 and we're going to go word wrap word. You know, I'm just going to do... I'm going to do... Replace X0 with X1, but only from here. So if we go... Oops, X1. So if I go here... Replace. Perfect. Okay, and then if we do the same thing again... So here, X3, and we're going to place X1 with X2 now, but only from here onwards. Okay, now if we try X3, I'm going to save that. Let's do this. This is not good. Why is Firefox vulnerable to an XML bomb attack? So, the reason this is bad is because if you Google, this is the, honestly, in my opinion, the best named payload ever. The Billion Laughs attack. That's Chromium? That is a good point. Why is Chromium vulnerable to this? I mean, let's see if Firefox is. Firefox is as well. Why are all browsers... Okay. The Billion Laughs attack is incredible. This is the payload. This is a relatively small payload. And actually, you can make this payload smaller because this payload is technically... It's using LOL1, LOL2, LOL3, right, as entities, and also it has to reference all these. You could literally name this payload. You could name this one A, this one B, this one C. You could name these all 1 characters, and then all these payloads would be reduced in size. All right, this could be made much, much, much smaller. But the fact is, this is basically just producing a massive string of LOLs. And it produces 1 billion of them, right? Hence the name, the Billion Laughs attack. And if you have 1 billion of anything, right? If you have 1 billion bytes, that's technically 1 gigabyte. Okay? Fun fact: if you have 1 billion bytes, that is the same as a gigabyte. And clearly, LOL has 3 bytes, so that's 3 billion. Bytes, which is 3 gigabytes. And so this is going to take up 3 gigabytes of memory. And then if you do one more line, like this goes up to LOL9, if you do LOL10, right, it's exponential. If you do LOL10, suddenly that 3 gigabytes becomes 30. Yeah? Because what happens here is LOL is just 3 bytes. LOL1 is 30 bytes. LOL2 is 300 bytes. Basically, you just multiply by 10 each time. So we go 3, 30, 300, 3,000, 30,000. Oh god, we found the bug tracker. Oh, that's gonna be fun. Hang on a minute. There we go. Yeah. What a stupid comment. What a stupid... 22 years ago. No sane document would do this. I mean, yeah, but that kind of misses the point. Oh, man. As far as attacks go, this isn't very good. I mean, crashing an entire browser, I would say... Probably not good. Oh, man. No one appears to cause Firefox to hang, and then people's like, it still occurs. Yeah. Oh, man. That's funny. Pay for the kind of bandwidth? No. I mean, that's the amazing. This is why this attack is one of my favorites. This payload is tiny. This payload you can host, right? All the 30 gigabytes or however many gigabytes you want, all happens locally. It's basically it's a kind of bomb attack. So there are a bunch of attacks called bombs. Bomb attacks in computing, generally speaking, very small payload, and the payload expands usually exponentially in some way, but it all happens on the target machine. So, for example, a fork bomb, right? So a fork bomb, there are some really fun fork bombs. Where's a good one? Yeah, here we go. This is a fork bomb in Linux or Unix, and it's very small, but this is basically the same thing. So all it's doing, right, so if you think about this, this is defining a function called fork, right? It's then running the function. So because obviously you can do recursion. So in Bash you can do recursion. And so you can inside the fork function you can call the fork function, right? And so what you're doing is you're saying, okay, well, inside this fork function, I'm gonna call fork, I'm gonna run the fork function, I'm gonna pipe it into another fork function. Then we're also gonna background it. Okay? And then finally we actually call fork. And the same as here. So all we're doing here is so Bash is weird. You can name functions various things. In this case, we're just naming the function. Maybe I should zoom in. We're naming the function colon. And then inside the function, we're calling the function colon. We're piping it into the function colon, backgrounding the entire thing, and then we're just calling colon to start the attack. So all of this is the setup. The actual attack is triggered here. This is the actual attack. But what does it do? Well, if you run the fork function, that itself runs the fork function and pipes it into the fork function. So basically, you run the fork function once and you get 2 copies of the fork function. Okay? So what does this fork function do? Well, it calls the fork function, which again spawns 2 copies. And so basically every time fork is called, you get 2 copies. And because it's piping, right, because it's being piped and because you're backgrounding it, this never actually dies. So the fork function never exits because it can't, because literally every single the whole point of this is to call itself again, and so you're just calling itself each instance. The reason there's two of them, like you could do this with just fork, right? But the reason there's two of them is to make it exponential. If you just had a fork function that called fork, then every time it would run, it would just spawn a new function. Okay, that's not exponential. That will grow, and it will never exit. You'll get a ton of functions, but by calling two of them at the same time, right? It becomes exponential. How you can't defend against this. Like I'm sure there are ways to detect it, but like ultimately this is perfect. This is just perfectly. This is completely legal in terms of how like Bash works, how anything works. This is just how programming works. Yeah, this will just go until you run out of memory. Because ultimately, every time a process is created, like one of these is created as a process, every time this happens, it uses up a little bit of memory and a little bit of CPU. But yeah, infinite loop that repeatedly launches new copies of itself, basically. Yeah. So, Billion Labs attack is the same thing, just in XML. There's also a zip bomb. Whoops. Zip bombs are fun. So 42.zip is a very, very famous one. Basically, because of the way compression works, you can create tiny files that expand into huge files. And the great thing about it is, if you know, so obviously the standard way of creating a zip is to start with a big file, run it through the zip process, right? And that will output a smaller zip file. Yeah, that's how generally zips work. But the zip, like a zip function or a zip executable, is just running an algorithm to compress data into the zip format. You can technically write a zip file from scratch if you understand the algorithm that's going to be used to decompress it, right? So this 42.zip, technically, if you uncompress it, so it's 42 kilobytes. Right, this 42.zip is 42 kilobytes. When it's uncompressed, it will create a file that is... No, sorry, it won't create a file, but it will create... It'll create multiple files, each containing 4.3 gigabyte of data, for a total of 4.5 petabytes, which, you know, is more than practically any computer system has. So nobody actually ever created this amount of data and then compressed it down into this zip file, right? That's not how this was created. Nobody did this. There was never this amount of data on someone's disk drive and they were like, I'm going to compress that. No, they wrote this file from scratch, probably using an algorithm itself, right? In such a way that when it would decompress, it would create this, which is awesome. But yes, so this is great for two reasons. Obviously, if you can get any kind of system to expand this, you're going to take up a massive amount of storage, and you're probably going to crash the system just because it's going to run out of space. Generally speaking, when computer systems completely run out of space, they stop working. Mostly because there's a lot of stuff on the system that needs to be able to write for things. Even if it's just like log files, or in Linux, because everything, even processes, are files, you can cause a lot of issues if you run out of actual disk space. So that's one instance, but another one is you can actually cause it to because it takes so much time. You can basically cause it to not have service in terms of like the actual CPU, right? Because you're giving it a zip file which will take so long to unzip. It'll never stop unzipping. So yeah, this one is detectable in the sense that you can technically, with zip files, you can peek into them without uncompressing them, and you can notice that there are several layers of compressed data, and then you can basically say, okay, well, I'm only going to go down a certain number of layers, right? I think it says that here. So a lot of antivirus scanners will only do a few layers of recursion. But if you're not aware of this, this can be a massive issue. I actually found was on a web app test once, and you were able to upload a zip file, and it would unzip the entire file on the back end in memory. And I created my own version of 42.zip because obviously I wasn't going to upload this, but there are scripts online to just create these. So I created a 200 gigabyte file, which would have been enough to show that it was going to work. And yeah, it uncompressed the entire damn thing. So I think it was like there were like a certain number. I forget how many layers I did. I did quite a few layers to get to 20 gigs. But yeah. Anyway, let's actually exploit this. So we figured out, apparently, this submit thing doesn't actually return any data, but the question is, can we get it to? So what I'm going to do... Great side quest. It was, yeah, I like it. Okay, we're going to go into Tools, Web, Dynamic DTD. This is an application that I wrote. And what we're going to do here... we're going to give it my IP address, 53.212 and port 8000. And then I'm just going to count the README file so I understand, because I forget how to use this. That's all good. Flask run. Yes, okay, so I need to do port. Okay, so the port I'm going to do is 4444. And the interface IP is going to be 10.13.53.2. Okay, good. And then what I'm going to do over here is just run Python 3-m http, which should HTTP server, sorry, which should run it on port 8000, which was the port I believe I just specified as well. Yes. All right. Wrong one. Okay, so what's going to happen if we browse to this? And if I use oob.dtd, no, resource equals file / etc password. Okay, if we go view page source, so what we get here, this is one of the annoying things about doing XXE injection with out-of-band stuff is you have to host an external DTD file, right, which is basically what this is. And that itself has to contain a reference to the file that you want to get. So in this case, we want to get the Etsy password file, right? And we want to send it here. So that's all great. We can create this file very easily, right? And host it on a server. But then if we want to change what file we want to get, we have to go into that file that's hosted on the server. We have to edit it. We have to change this. We have to save it. And then we have to send the payload again, right? So what this does, this is dynamic DTD. You'll notice there's a resource thing in the URL. And this is what we want to get. Okay? And actually, I'm going to change this to host name, and you'll see why in a minute. So you can just change this in the URL now. And that matters because what we want to do here, we want to create this, we want to copy this doc type. This is actually our payload. And so what I want to do is... put the payload... there. The server IP is we're going to have is 10, 13, 53, 212. Port is going to be 4444, and that's the resource. Fine. Hostname. And then what we could do here, file. We don't actually need file here. We can just do anything. That's So if I save this, then hopefully what's going to happen... Oh, yes. Yes. Okay. Hopefully what's going to happen is when I upload this file... we don't get a hit. Okay, interesting. Yeah, well, 4444 is correct because we're listing on 4444 here.
Skyfire 100 cheered with 500 bits. Web App
Hey,
Wednesday
the
is my
bits.
favorite day.
It's my favorite day too. Okay. Alright, let's just check this then. So apparently... Let's just see if this bit works. That's not even working. You just double check and make sure this is actually accessible. It should be. You see, this is me. All right, let's just do what they're saying. Let's see if we can get just 1337 or something. Maybe it has to be the port. Just double check my IP address. That is fine. Okay. Dog type foo XXE 1337. And then whatever this is, this doesn't really matter. This is fine. And then, yeah, upload. This is all good. Hmm. Oh, do we have to... Oh, maybe we have... Oh, does it happen in the submit section? No, it can't happen in the submit section, surely. Well, maybe it does. Oh, maybe it... Oh, hang on. No, wait. Yeah, okay. Oh, right. Okay. So it's yeah. It's in the submit. Okay, this makes way more sense. So hang on a minute. So this should work then. It was just I was attacking the wrong section, I think. There we go. Okay. So I'm trying to understand what the point of this thing is. Because I swear this is exactly the same as this. Right, let me just... We're gonna grab this file. XXE is kind of tricksy, so we're just gonna compare what it's telling us we need. So this is the file that's going to be on the server, which is basically this same file. So so effectively my ext up here is the same as CMD here. So if I just replace this with CMD and this with CMD, okay, that's all good. This should work. They're using the PHP filter, but this should also work. And then we have, instead of eval, we have oobxxe. So let's just replace that. Oobxxe replaces eval. Okay. This also defines... so this uses the exfil function instead of oob. And... Oh, I see what... Okay, I see what it's doing. Right, this is a slightly okay. This is a slightly different. Maybe I should add this method to dynamic DTD then. All right, so the way this method works, my method works, it generally it does the exfil at the same time. So basically, it runs this function here, which it should be able to do. Oh crap! It is odd that it's not doing it.
Thank you for following.
Okay, so I don't think we can use dynamic GTD. We'll just do it the way they're doing it. This is an interesting way of doing it. I haven't actually seen it done this way before. But effectively, we can do this the same way. We can effectively let's just copy this payload. But instead of this, I just want to see if we can get. Let's see if we can get Etsy hostname here. And then we want to do 10, 13, 53, 212, 8,000. Okay, cool. And then what we're going to do is I am going to cd into try hack me, XXC injection, and we're just going to create we're just going to create oob.dtd here. Okay, that should be fine. Crap. Cancel this. Okay, so we're running port 8000. All good. Then our file payload just needs to do 8000 here. And it references oob.dtd. It doesn't need this anymore. And finally, exfil needs to be called here. I think. Still weird because I wouldn't have thought that this would be red. But maybe I'm wrong. Alright, let's try it. So we're just going to copy this payload here.
Thank you for following.
Yeah, we'll do that. Yeah, it didn't work.
Thank you for following.
So here's my issue with this lab. I don't think this is right. So the issue here is, so the XML document is parsed, but entities aren't processed unless they're needed. Okay. So by that I mean, like, this exfil entity, obviously it doesn't know. So this exfil entity is defined in this sample.dtd, right? Which is fine. But the problem is you're not actually calling upload. So we've created an XML entity called upload, but we're never actually referencing it. So this line is actually useless. This is what the upload tags are for? No, that's different. Oh wait, hang on, hang on. Have I done? Oh no, okay. Yeah, I see what I'm doing wrong. It's using a okay. It's actually calling a doc type here. It's not. It's not using an Right. I misread this. Okay, yeah. It's not actually defining an entity. Okay, yeah. So that does make perfect sense. Yes. So right. Yeah, I do need to actually add this to doc type DCD. Then yeah. That's confusing though. Okay, yes. So this will get called because of this now. Right. That's the reason it wasn't working. Okay. This is a weird way of doing a doc type. An XXE though. Interestingly. There we go. Now we got it. So we got a hit, but it didn't actually work. Why didn't it work, though? I kind of want to just... I want to cat the, That's fine. I mean, okay, I guess it didn't like the file format. The only thing that's different I can think of is this. XXE is extremely complicated, to be fair. It is a bit fiddly as well. I just want to try hostname first. The hostname file is good because it's only one line. So, even though it's base64 encoding everything, the fact that this is one line is useful. Let's just try it again. Okay, it didn't even work. Oh, it did. Okay, that's good. That worked. Alright, so now we can... Interesting. Etsy password. So, yeah, it's weird that the file one isn't working, though. I would have thought the file format would have worked. It's odd that file isn't working. Is there something to do with the code that's taking place? So the fact that, because we're base64 encoding, doesn't matter that this file has multiple. In a standard, if you didn't have access to PHP filters, you might not be able to get Etsy password, for example. But here we're able to get it. It's interesting that they disabled the file thing from working. There we go, see? Alright, so what do we actually need to get from here? Oh, well, this is out of band. Yeah, it is weird that this one didn't work, though. I wonder what they've done to disable that, because usually that works. I'm not seeing anything in here that would disable it either. Yeah, so Java. So yeah, some. It's tricky when files have more than one line. Sometimes they just don't. You can't extract them. What I would recommend is looking into error based. So error based is quite successful usually. Wait, what? I thought I had a dynamic DTD list. Oh, apparently I don't. Okay, I need to do that, but error message. Error message is good. Error message usually supports multiple lines. So yeah. And this one is weird. Yeah, Java supports directory listings, which is also honestly the most awesome part of Java for XXE. Is it supports. So if you have a Java-based XXE, you can literally do something just like file / / like that, and that'll list the root directory. So list all files in the root directory, which is super useful. All right. This is, yeah. I'm still confused why that didn't work, the initial one. But oh well. SSRF is good for, so we can basically just do port scanning, which is kind of fun. It's wanting us to do the contact submit again, which is this one. So actually, I can go to repeater. So the idea with this one is we can do port scan. So what we do is it's the same payload as before. What we'll do here though, there's actually a great site. It's a great site that I use, mmap top ports list. If you just Google it, nullsec.us has this awesome comma limited individual TCP. So obviously you could do it for all ports. That's probably going to be very slow. But what I generally do is I take the top ports from mmap. These are the top 1,000 ports in mmap, which are generally pretty reliable. And then what we're going to do is just paste them in here. And so we've gone to intruder, and we've said, hey, I want you to just send a request to localhost on whatever port we're going to place here. And that should be fine. We don't need to URL encode anything because we're not in a URL. And then if we just start the attack, what's important to do here, it depends on what's happening. So sometimes you'll get Damn. Oh, what the hell's going on there? But anyway. Okay, so sometimes you'll be like, if you have a non-blind XXE, right? So in band one, you might see a message here. In this case, okay, yes, we don't. So we don't actually see a message. So what we need to do, it looks like it's already been enabled, which is interesting. The response received column, I guess it's here by default now. If it's not here by default, what you do is you go to this, and you enable response received, response completed. These are timing attacks. So if we actually didn't have these enabled, it would be difficult to see what's open and what's not. All right. This is definitely open, right? Because we're getting a response back. But for everything else, we kind of just have the same message. And then we have a few here where literally it's just to keep alive is blank. All right. So if we actually go to response received, response completed, and we sort by them like this, we can see that for most of these requests, the response time, right? So response received basically is when the first byte of the response comes back. So when the request is sent, Burp starts a timer, starts counting, and this is measured in milliseconds. So basically what this column means is, hey, after the last byte of the request was sent, I started counting. 213 milliseconds later, I received the first byte of the response. And then response completed is when the last byte of the response is received. So for very small requests, this is basically the same value. For very large requests, this value is going to be larger. But they're both useful to have. And as you can see here, so for most requests, it was 200, around 200. We get a bit more delay for some of them, but, that's negligible, to be honest. It's all negligible up until we get to this one, right? So we get 634. So what's happening, if you think about it, if you try, so this was a request to port 2557. So if we're trying to send an HTTP request, right? So if you look in the request here, we're basically telling it to send a HTTP request to localhost on port 2557. So the first thing it's going to do, right, is it's going to send a SYN packet, right? TCP. It's going to send a SYN packet to port 2557. If the port's not open, what's going to happen? Yeah. It's going to get basically an RST. It's not going to get an ACK, right? It's not going to get like a SYN-ACK response. Okay? It's going to get RST. I think sometimes it might get a FIN. It depends on where we are in the process. For localhost, it's going to get an RST, I think. But yeah, so it's going to get that, and then it's not going to do anything, right? That basically means the port isn't open. So it's going to instantly return here, right? So basically, it sent one TCP packet. It got a TCP packet in response. And then it knows from here, oh, well, this stuff won't work, so I can't send an HTTP request. So it doesn't even attempt to send an HTTP request because the port's not open. So it instantly fails, and it just sends this back. Now compare this to what happens here, right? So on port 81, it sends a SYN request, or sends a SYN packet, sorry. And then we get a SYN-ACK response, right? Because the port is actually open. And then it will send another, right? It will send another packet to complete the TCP handshake. The port's open, so it does this. Then it will send an HTTP request. And if HTTP is running on that service, on that port, then it will receive an HTTP response. But the fact is, it's sending more packets when the port's open than when a port's closed, just because of how TCP works. Yeah. And so it looks like there's obviously port 80 is open here. It looks like potentially there's some these might be inaccurate, I don't know, but potentially what could happen is port 13 and 19 might be open as well. We could always just replay this attack. Yeah, go to attack repeat. Okay, so the same thing didn't happen that time. We only got 2. So those 2 that were before 13 and 19 aren't actually open. That was just a glitch. That was just basically random network interference. Okay, sort of latency issues and the such, causing us a delay. That's why you should always repeat these. But basically, yeah, we know that port 80 and port 81 are open. Interestingly, this can actually be the opposite case, depending on how this request is handled by the operating system, or even the programming language. So I've had SSRFs like this before, where you would obviously get some kind of value back for when the port is open, like some response time, but you'd also have like maybe requests where the port were closed. You'd have like a 2-second delay in getting a response back, and that's because there's a timeout value. So effectively, if there's like a firewall in place and it's not actually responding to requests to SYN packets that are sent to closed ports, right? Even though it should technically respond when you send a SYN packet to a closed port, sometimes with firewalls they don't. They just drop the SYN packets, right? So what's happening there is you're sending a SYN packet to a closed port. The firewall is just dropping it immediately. It's not issuing any kind of response. But obviously, the sender of the SYN packet doesn't know that, so it's just waiting for a response, and then it'll have a timeout there. So this could be the opposite, and it's up to you to determine what's more true, right? So we could say, oh well, maybe there's a 200 millisecond wait time. Yeah, maybe all these ports are open. Yeah, and these are closed, but that doesn't make much sense when you look at them. So it's up to us to determine what the data is like, if that makes sense. So these could have been, hey, well, the ports are open and we got like an instant response, and in these 2 cases the port was closed, but there was like a close to 500 something millisecond timeout. But is that reasonable? No, especially not reasonable because in this case we actually got a value back. Well, I'm just trying to show it could be either way. It's up to us to determine what's more true. And it's highly likely, especially in these cases, that only 2 ports would be open as opposed to 998 ports. Whoop, don't want to do that. Okay. Alright, mitigation. Mitigation is boring. But yeah, basically disable GTDs. Cool. Any questions about any of that? That's what Honeypot's for, detect hacking attempts and then route out those connections. Yeah, potentially. But... firewalls do it as well. I'm just saying, I've found instances where the only way I could tell that ports were open was because I got a lower return time. Okay, that was a good room. I'm definitely gonna have a look at this one again. Because this is an interesting way of doing it. Not this one, sorry, this one. I don't think Dynamic DCD currently covers that. But I may have to code it in. Alright, any other questions?
Thank you for following.
In real life, when we're surfing on a web app, what should be the aim to find XXEs? So, there are a few things. So obviously, if you can, and any time you notice XML, right? So in this case, we used the contact form, we looked at the request, we saw XML. Anytime you see XML, you should be thinking XXE and you should be trying XXE. Other times, you might, whoops. In other times, what might happen, I wonder if I've got it enabled. No. Let me actually try and do this. Let me show an example. So you might have something like this. Okay. So you might have something like this, where you have a JSON object instead. And anytime you have this, you should always just try and convert it to XML. There are several web frameworks for whatever reason. If they support JSON, they also support XML. There's actually a really good extension in Burp Suite we should try. Which is convert something. Content type converter, I believe it's called. Reinstall, have I not got it? So then you just go engagement tool, no, extensions, content type converter, convert to XML. And lo and behold, look at that. So, which frameworks do that? I don't know off the top of my head. All I know is that there are some. It kind of makes sense because back in the day, Ajax was how you would send data from the front end to the back end without refreshing the page. Ajax is asynchronous JavaScript and XML. So basically, back in traditional web frameworks, you would have JavaScript would send XML documents to the back end, which would process them, extract the data, and then send an XML document back. That kind of was dumb because XML is bulky, right? Like, look how much data there is. So this entire thing is 176 bytes. If we convert it back to a JSON object, right? This is 103 bytes. JSON objects are just smaller, and also you don't need this root element now, right? So you can actually make this even smaller. Right, XML always needed a root element, so you get 93. JSON doesn't. JSON is also native to JavaScript, so the fact that you were doing JavaScript anyway and not using JSON was kind of silly. So, yeah. So JSON is the standard way these days. I would say, other than regular just form-based parameters, JSON is probably the main way that any data is sent to a server these days. But still, because Ajax is traditional and there are still definitely applications that support it, a lot of frameworks will just support both and they'll handle both. So they'll try their best if you send an XML document to convert it into a readable format, and to do that they have to parse the XML. When your coworkers wrote this extension, it's a great extension. Yeah, it's one of my favorites. It's just so simple. Like, I don't use it that much, because generally speaking, what I'll do is if I come across a JSON request like this, I'll use it to convert it into an XML document, send it. If it doesn't work, generally what that means is the entire application isn't going to be vulnerable for that kind of attack. Oh, interesting. He works at NetSpy, does he? Do you work at NetSpy? I got quite a few people have been like who follow me on Twitter are like, "Hey, I'm going to be a coworker." I was like, "Hooray!" Yeah, it's a very good extension. They told us to say hi. Awesome. Oh man, there's people on Twitter being ridiculous. I post. I'm gonna share this because it's. I'm pretty open with like. Here's the best way to frame this. I understand like there are people who have religious beliefs and don't necessarily quote unquote agree with LGBT stuff. And aren't going to change their views anytime soon. And that's okay. Like, obviously it's not preferred, but like, I think my point is you don't have to agree with anything as long as you accept that people can exist the way they are. But anyway, I posted this because I thought it was funny, right? Because LGBTI, right? I is generally for intersex, is one of the initialisms, and I thought it was funny that the TI at the end was like, hey, that's the start of my username, so I created LGBT IBS, right? LGBT TIBS basically. And I did a smirky face, and I did this. And then, like, this guy, I don't know, he follows me, it's fine. Like, it's fine. But, like, he's like, He basically says that he said that it's easier for me to say I am gay. And I was like, what if I'm not gay? Right? Because I didn't want to just be like, I'm not gay, by the way. I wanted to try and have a dialogue with him. I'm not just going to shut the guy down, you know. But he's like, it's easier for you to say I'm gay, then the matter will be simplified. So I'm trying to get a response like, what if I'm not gay? And then this guy said, you are, but are afraid of the scandal. And I'm like, dude, I live in the US. I'm in one of the most liberal states. I'm in such a liberal state that we legalized gay marriage like 10 years before anyone else. Massachusetts legalized gay marriage in 2003, I think. That's before most countries. Like, I don't think he understands how not scandal. Massachusetts has a lesbian governor right now. Like, it's such not a scandal. It's just what? Like, there's no scandal. Most of the US is fine with gay people, but like, even if they weren't, I live in a state which is definitely gay. All right, let's just be clear. Massachusetts is definitely a pro-gay state. But then, okay, then it's like, I think it's wise to understand that not all people have the same beliefs as you. That's fine, and you must accept that there are also people who do not like to see such slogans related to homosexuality. So whether you like it or not does not matter, but you can support them in silence without harassing people. Okay, I don't think this is harassing. This is if you think a rainbow is harassing somebody, my God. You have issues. I am perfectly fine respecting people's... The thing is, these people want me to respect their beliefs, and I do respect your beliefs. I absolutely respect your beliefs. I'm not trying to, like, shut down anyone's beliefs here. But this is not harassment. Especially with, like... There are also people who do not like to see such slogans related to homosexuality. Okay, there are people who don't like seeing this flag. I'm probably going to respond to this.
Dispensing gratitude.
And I'm gonna like, there are people on this website that do not like the fact that and this flag is displayed literally next to your name. I'm fine with your flag. I'm gonna say this. I am literally fine. If you want to display the Palestinian flag, I'm fine with that. I'm one of those people. I think what's happening in the Middle East is awful, and I don't think there's necessarily one side that's like good. I think both sides are being really shitty in different ways. Okay, I've donated to pro-Palestinian charities. Okay, because ultimately, I've donated to the what's the Palestinian Children's Relief Fund or something. I think that's a good charity to donate to, because ultimately I think if there's anything that most people can agree on, it's that kids shouldn't just be needlessly killed. Right? And it's always tragic when kids die. Kids are innocent. So I've donated to that charity. I don't think it's good that kids are getting killed. I'm fine if you want to display your flag. I'm fine if you want to display the Israeli flag. That's fine. But there are some people who see this flag and get offended by it. Who cares? Doesn't matter. If you get offended by a flag, you have real issues going on. People who get offended by symbols...
Thank you for following.
Anyway. Just don't engage with idiots? No, because I like having conversations. And I don't, and I don't want to. I don't like it when people call them idiots, because he's not an idiot. Okay, he's a bug bounty hunter. All right, he's not an idiot. If I said this to someone, earlier. People need to stop calling other people idiots in online discussions, because ultimately the point of having an online discussion with somebody, or even an online debate, is to, well, obviously, if you can win the debate and you can change someone's mind, that's great. If you can't, and in a lot of these you have to go in realizing you can't, the next best thing is to understand your opponent better. Okay? If both of you can come away with a new perspective on things, even if you don't change your mind on something, that's good. And here's the thing. When was the last time you changed your mind on something, all right, because somebody called you an idiot? I guarantee it was never. If you call somebody an idiot, you shut down the discussion immediately. You're never going to change their mind. You're never going to give them a new perspective on something if you at any point in that conversation start calling someone an idiot or start insulting them. So don't do it. Most of these people are not idiots. Some of them, I'm sure, are idiots, right? But you don't know that from having a conversation with them like this. Okay? So I think there's benefit, and I've seen people who posted like the LGBT flag, and be like, if you don't like it, you can go to hell. And that's just, no, don't say that. Like, they were like, hey, if anyone unfollows me for posting this, you can rot in hell. You can burn in hell. That's not a nice thing to say. People can not like the flag. People who pronounce SQL as SQL. Yeah. I mean, come on. I mean, that is not even remotely the same thing. So yeah, I don't think I disagree when Bugcrowd posted their question and they changed their logo. I disagree with the people who in the comments were making all kinds of anti-gay jokes and slurs. I didn't think that was cool. But on the same thing, I don't think it's cool if you respond to that by posting the flag and saying that, you know, Muslims can burn in hell. I don't think that's cool either. I think both of those people are bad. It's fine to post a flag and say, hey, feel free to unfollow me if you want. That's okay. Feel free if to unfollow, but don't be like, don't try and like have the moral upper hand for some reason. I like engaging with people. I've talked with a few Muslims by DM on Twitter, and they were very good conversations. I'm not gonna dox anyone. I'm not gonna say what we said, but they were interesting conversations, and I think both of us came away with a different perspective on things. And I think that's healthy. Obviously, I didn't change their mind on anything. They didn't change my mind on anything. But that's okay. The likelihood of that was very low to begin with, let's face it. Anyway. Exactly. Yeah. And there were people who Muslims who were saying, I don't accept it, but I don't like support it. I don't accept it, but I don't mind, you know, that they exist, and that's, you know, they're free to do what they want. And I'm like, that is kind of accepting it, to be honest. Like, agreeing and accepting are different things. So I told the guy, you know, yeah, if you don't agree with it, that's fine, but it sounds definitely like you're accepting it. You're accepting it as a thing that happens, which is, you know, fine. And there are other people who were like, you know, I don't care. It doesn't bother me that Bugcrowd changed their logo to a LGBT flag. Like, literally, doesn't. I don't care. I was like, that's fine as well. That's actually a really healthy perspective to have. It doesn't affect you in any way if a company changes a logo, right? Like the people who are triggered by it, it's just so weird. Especially when you say that it's harassing. It's not harassing. You know, stay off the internet if you don't want to experience other people's things. Yeah, exactly, the Shy Hat. That's the thing. The cybersecurity, I mean, to be honest, any industry is quite diverse on the internet. It's the internet. He'll scroll up eventually. Wait, what? Crash Puppy? Oh god, what did she say? How far do I have to scroll up? I dare you to refresh your Twitter. Oh, what did you say to me? Fuck you, Trash Puppy. Look, there's nothing wrong with putting ketchup on scrambled eggs. I don't see what the problem with putting ketchup on scrambled eggs is. There's nothing wrong with it. It's not like I doused them. I literally put a tiny bit of ketchup on because ketchup is tasty on breakfast food. No, okay, it doesn't make the egg taste like ketchup. Like, I did not douse anything. Trash Puppy, that is a lie. That is an absolute lie. I put like one squirt on, and then I used my knife and fork to mix it up into the freaking scrambled eggs. I think it's a British thing. Like, I googled it. It's not unusual for ketchup to put on scrambled eggs. Tabasco sauce, yeah, that's another one. They didn't have Tabasco sauce though. This was a Florida. That was at the Florida hotel for Hackspace Con. Anyway, nothing wrong with putting ketchup on eggs. You know, it's. Can we at least agree that what the Canadians do, which is putting ketchup on mac and cheese, is much worse? Rubius, I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna speak lies. You're not gonna make me say lies on stream. I refunded your points. Ruby's trying to make me say lies on stream. No. That is not how you do not abuse the text to British speech option. Second refund. Text to British. Look, I'm pretty sure I put it in the thing that I have the final say over whether I'm allowed to whether I can say it or not. It's a dangerous option. Look, I'm pretty sure. Hang on. Ketchup, scrambled eggs.
Thank you for following.
The tasteless criticism of ketchup and eggs. Ketchup goes well in most breakfast things. Look at this great article. Ketchup and eggs make a ton of sense together. The sweet, acidic, savory nature of ketchup cuts through the decadent creaminess of eggs. Oh look, a chef! Ketchup and eggs hit that salt, fat, acid, heat checklist. I love ketchup and eggs. Another chef. Why is pairing them considered tasteless? In short, classism. Trash puppy, you classist fuck. Trash puppy. I love that this article is basically saying that Trash Puppy, the American, is classist, and me, the ex-Brit, is not. I wouldn't say ketchup is that sugary. At least we can agree on ketchup on steak. Yeah, if you put ketchup on steak, you're a nightmare person. Anyway, ketchup on eggs is fine. Look, okay. Let's go to the images. I will tell you what is or is not. Okay. This is too much ketchup. That's too much ketchup. That actually, most of these are too much ketchup. All of these are too much ketchup. I will show you what the amount of ketchup I put on my eggs is. That's probably a little bit too much. God. Okay, most of these people put too much ketchup on eggs. Like it's literally one squirt and then you mix it in. There isn't even a decent. Okay, no, that hasn't got any on it. Yeah, most of these people aren't doing it properly, in my opinion. There's too much because ketchup is quite strong. That's the thing. You only want to give it a little bit more flavor. I don't want to taste ketchup. Maybe I got so much pushback because apparently people think this is the right amount of ketchup. This is not the right amount of ketchup. Okay, the closest one was one near the start, but like even that was too much. Where was it? Yeah, like this one. That's still slightly too much ketchup for me. If you don't want to taste it, don't add it. No, you misunderstand. I don't want to just taste ketchup. Okay, I want to taste my eggs, but I also want to taste a little bit of ketchup. Tibbs, when I cook for all of us, there'll be no ketchup bottle inside. Okay, so I need to bring my own ketchup. That's what you're basically telling me. I will remember that if you ever cook for me. I will bring a little bottle of ketchup in my jacket pocket. Web App Wednesday has divulged into a ketchup fight. Yes, I did say to spice up the flavor. Ketchup is slightly spicy. You realize, like, spice is like it's an insanely. I'm not saying like spice in terms of hot. I'm saying like ketchup is literally a condiment. All right, it spices it up a little bit. Mustard is spicy. I don't put mustard on eggs. All right, I'm just saying. The chef said hot. Well, I mean, I don't agree. It's not hot in the same sense. It's definitely spicy, mostly because of the ingredients that go into it. It's not just tomatoes. Mustard on eggs sounds like something. No, GoPro. No, if you're gonna put muscle on eggs, you gotta go with what was it, Grey Poupon? Yeah, let's do another marble race. That sounds like a fun thing. I don't like brown sauce. No, I hate brown sauce. It's awful. Community maps. Can we search? Is there a ketchup-based map? No. Is there a tomato-based map? No. Is there a condiment-based map? Is there a mustard-based map? Is there an egg-based map? Ooh, we've got... Okay, how is this egg when it says peg? Okay, this is weird. We're gonna go with the Portals Peg League, I guess. No, malt vinegar is different. There's literally... Let me show you, actually. Hang on. Oh, crap. There we go. Brown sauce UK. Let me go back to the screen. All right, this is brown sauce. I don't actually know what's in brown sauce. I don't like it. Malt vinegar is a standard condiment in, most restaurants, I'd say. But malt vinegar is good on like fish and chips. It's very good on chip. Yes, it's actually called brown sauce. It does not taste. I don't agree with this. So, Worcestershire sauce is very good on like steak. But like only Liam pairings. So only get Liam pairings. That's the original, and never look up what the what Worcestershire sauce is made of. Okay? Just ignore it. Just enjoy the taste and don't ever look what's in it. Do you want me to tell you what's in it? All right, I'm going to tell you what's in it. Close your eyes, close your ears. So what's in it? Basically, vinegar, molasses, sugar, salt, anchovies, tamarind extract, shallots, garlic, spices, flavors. But what's very... So the story is the anchovies were basically... the anchovies are basically left to rot. I don't know if it's going to say the story here, but... yeah, fermented liquid condiment. So basically it's fermented anchovies. Here's the thing. Trust me. It sounds disgusting. It's not. It's really good. Here we go. Yes, here's the story. I'm going to read the story. According to company tradition, when the recipe was first mixed, the resulting product was so strong that it was considered inedible, and the barrel was abandoned in the basement. Looking to make space in the storage area, some 18 months later, the chemist decided to try it and discovered that the long-fermented sauce had mellowed and become palatable. Basically, they mixed anchovies and a bunch of vinegar and left it for 18 months in a basement. And then sold it. But I swear it's really good. Alright, exclamation point play in Twitch chat if you wanna race in the marble race. Exclamation point play. Alright, 6-second countdown. Everybody, exclamation point play. The top 10 finishes of this marble race will forever be known on the stream as enjoying ketchup on eggs. I have decreed this. I'm not saying that you don't enjoy it if you're not in the 10, if you're not in the top 10, but the top 10 will forever be known, and I'm really hoping that Arubius wins. Come on, Arubius. We believe in you, Arubius. Oh, I haven't even clicked start. There we go. Exclamation point play. I should create a new role that just says ketchup on eggs and award it to all the top 10. I will do that after the stream. Exclamation point play in chat. And then we'll figure out something else to do for the rest of this stream. We could probably do one small web challenge or something on Portswigger. Alright, 10 seconds, everybody. Let's go. Who is going to win? Who is going to be our first recognizer that ketchup on eggs is decent? Oh, right. Oh, look at this lovely line of people. Could be anyone's game right now. But Dragonov is currently winning. Dragonov requested this marble race. Ooh! They're going to survive? Yes. And then die. GoPro Slow-Yo, though. Made it. So did Lord Kobar, and so did me. Oh, Arubius is in 5th place. Hey, Arubius! Oh no, GoPro. Arubius is in 1st. Oh, he's dying! Should have made it the people who die first. Alright, D-Blaze and 740 II and myself. I am racing. I really want that ketchup and eggs at the end. Ooh. Oh, if I win this, it's going to be fun. Oh, 740i has won it. Has won it. Well, we got our first few finishers. Look at all these ketchup and egg lovers. 740i, Zerius 84, Jackson, Leon, AZ, Chris, Fixit 42, Ninkert, Island Hugger, the Kick to Droid. Who is going to be the final one? The Shy Hat. Lovely. I'm gonna take a screenshot of this, so I can award you all the ketchup and eggs thing later. All right. Oh, look at that! There were only it was meant to be. There were only 10 finishers. This was definitely the ketchup and egg race. Well done. Yes, well done. All right, let's get back. Yeah, brown sauce. No, brown sauce is very strange. I don't like the taste of brown sauce. All right. Let's go to Portsmouth Web Academy. Actually, is there anything on Hacking Hub? Anything interesting on Hacking Hub?
Thank you for following.
Actually, let's go newest. All right, so there is this hacking WordPress. This is we might do this another time. I am waiting. I know they're going to release some. They're going to release some more of the NahamCon DTF puzzles on here, I believe. So we'll do those later. But what are we going to do? What specific labs do I need to do here? Interesting. All right, give me ideas for what we'll do is give me a short list of subjects and we'll do a poll. We're not doing the AI ones. I will never do the AI ones. I've said on stream before, but I'm never touching the AI stuff. Okay, GraphQL, Open Redirects. I'm going to create a poll. And then we'll do one challenge. Anything else? CSRF. One more. Hack Twitch. No. Request smuggling. All right. Those are the four. I will give you guys 2 minutes to vote while I go to the bathroom. All right, there you go. There's a poll on Twitch. I will be back shortly. Oh, it's a tie between CSRF and request smuggling. Someone needs to vote very quickly. I'm not going to do it. All right, we have to do another stupid vote now. Okay, it's gonna be a 1-minute vote. All right. I believe Portsmouth has Open Redirect Labs. All right, CSRF or request smuggling. CSRF one, interesting. Let's find a lab. Okay, what are we gonna do? Which one is good? To be honest, any of these are fine. Let's do this one. So can anyone tell me what cross-site request forgery is?
Thank you for following.
Pushing a request across sites. Yes, all requests, all smart asses. All right. Okay, so what have we got here? Log into the account. Cross-site request will you attack to change the email, use the email address. All right, so if we log into the account using the standard username Wiener and the password Peter, then what we can see, what we can do is change our email using this. If we go back to burp, I'm going to close these intruder. Let's go. So if we look at this change email request, we see that posts to my account change email, that's okay. Includes the email parameter, which is good, and then it includes this CSRF token. So the idea here, I'm going to sneeze. Grab a tissue. All right. So if we change this 2 to a 3 and resend it, everything is fine. Okay. So what is happening though is we have this cross-site request forgery token. The idea is this is some random value. It's tied to the session. It's not the same as the session token, but it's tied to the session. All right. And the idea is if this is wrong, like if we change this 9 to an 8, we get an invalid CSRF token. Okay. So the point is, it's something that the attacker doesn't know. It's not related to the session token. And basically, the idea is, because we can technically create a page, like we can create an HTML page that uses JavaScript to issue one of these requests, right? That's fine. That's how the internet works. Requests can be sent to other sites. That's just fine. Because because the site is checking this is basically a value which the attacker can never know. So there are a few vulnerabilities. Obviously, the main one will be, well, if this is guessable, right? If this isn't random enough, then the attacker can just include, you know, the actual token if they can guess it, or send enough requests that eventually one of them actually works. There are other ones, like, for example... Okay, that worked. So, you just take off the cross-site request forgery token. Sometimes it works. Other ones are if you just set it to nothing. Then it says it's missing a parameter, even though the parameter is clearly there. But sometimes it's as easy as just taking it off. So there are a few things you should try. Obviously, changing the value, because obviously, if we change the value, right, we change this, and it went through, then that means they're not actually checking the token. They've just generated it and stuck it on the request, thinking that's all they need to do, but they're not actually checking it. So first thing you should do is actually just change the value. Second thing I always advise is just sending an empty value. Okay. You could do stuff like this as well. Like, this technically is an empty value as well. But taking it off entirely is also one of the things you should try. And in this case, it looks like we've got something. But hey, maybe not. We should probably change this to a 4 and make sure that it's reflected this side. And it is indeed. So now what we need to do is we're going to put the wiener 4 back to wiener. Right click, go to engagement tools in Burp Suite Pro, generate cross-site request forgery proof of concept, and you can, for a simple one like this is fine. Or include auto submit script is great to have. That basically just means it will actually auto submit as soon as the user does it. So what we can do is we can test in the browser. If we copy, if I visit this in the browser, what's going to happen is you see that site loaded. So let's go back to the burp proxy. Did it actually load it? I don't think it actually loaded it. Either way, it doesn't really matter. It loaded this request, right, in my browser, which triggered this post request, which sets my email back to Wiener. All right, and lo and behold, my username is now Wiener. Perfect. My email, sorry. I'm going to reset this. So now what we can do is we can copy the HTML, because we know it works. We can go to our exploit server. And we can paste this in the body. We can store it. And then basically we can deliver exploit to victim. And basically what that's going to do is the victim is going to... All that button does is it makes them load this URL. That's all it does. And so in this URL, they load the page, this loads, and what happens is they basically submit this request themselves, or their browser calls them to submit the request, and it changes their email. What if you got that token in your own session and used it in an attack against another victim? So you're talking about if... So that is a good thing as well. So you could just keep the value the same. So that is one thing you should test for, to make sure to see if you can just use the same value on another user's account. Generally speaking, that doesn't have a high success rate, because cross-site request forgery tokens are generally created when a user logs in and they're bound to an account. But I believe that is actually allowed in here. I think it's this one. So it's basically there's like a list of tokens that are valid, and it just checks that there's a valid one. So yeah, that's definitely something you should check. But But can anyone tell me why cross-site request forgery attacks are somewhat mitigated these days? There you go, Sheepx Hunter. Same site cookie defaulted to lax. Yes, the same site cookie. What does same site cookie do though? What is same site? I believe it's in Firefox now as well. Yeah, there we go. Hand machine. Got it. So cookies can, when cookies are set, they get assigned specific attributes. We can actually see that here. So this session cookie, there we go. This is the set cookie header. This basically creates a cookie called session with this value. It says it has to be secure. This just means it'll only be sent over HTTPS. HTTP only means that JavaScript cannot access it. What does that mean? Well, that means if we go to the console and we type alert document cookie, we get nothing. Okay, even though we clearly have a cookie here. All right. And this same site equals none. Same site is a relatively new attribute. It's only a few years old. It's supported in all major browsers, though. If it is set to lax or strict, then effectively what's going to happen is, well, if it's set to strict, what will happen is this cookie will never be sent to another site. Now, the definition of a site is, generally speaking, it's anything that's not this. Okay? Now,
Thank
with
you for
lax,
following.
lax is slightly different, and I'm going to look it up because I don't want to say the wrong thing. Right, yes. So, yeah, strict, the browser sends the cookie only for same site requests. Requests originating from the same site that set the cookie. So it has to be the same domain, exactly. Right. Lax is interesting. It's not sent on cross-site requests, like requests to load images or frames, but it is sent when a user is navigating to the origin site from an external site. For example, when following a link. So the idea there is, yeah, if you're following if you click a link, you generally want that cookie to be sent, because if you're clicking a link and you want to be logged in, right? So if you, like, for example, it's a good way of explaining this. If somebody sends you a link to a tweet, like if you're on a forum or something and you want a link to a tweet, and you're logged in on Twitter at the same time, if you click that link and the site you're browsing or Twitter sets the cookie, the session cookie to strict, what that means is when you click that link, you will technically be logged out on Twitter. You won't be logged out generally across the setting, but you'll be logged out
Thank you for
because
following.
the browser isn't going to attach the session cookie. So that's why strict is generally not recommended. It can definitely work, but lax is generally okay. Lacked protects against a lot of it. But there are, for example, same site strict bypasses, same site lax bypasses, etc. So lax is not 100% protected. This is obviously, if you have same site lax, you're protected against a lot of attacks, but you are not protected totally. You did a bit of research on this. Firefox by default has configuration same site default fallback to off. But cross-site posts can be abused even after 2-minute period, not like in Chrome. So Firefox is not enforcing it by default. Oh, okay, interesting. It will still send them in gets. It depends. So I believe if you do a regular I might not be correct here, but I think if anything is issued by JavaScript, it won't. I believe it's very specifically you have to be navigating, but I might be wrong on that. We can actually just double check here. There's a lab actually, hang on. Not a lab, here. Yeah, so request has to be a get, so it can't be a post. So both the following conditions are met. It has to be a get request, and the request resulted from a top-level navigation by the user, such as the user clicking on it. So it basically, there might be a way to fake it using JavaScript, but generally speaking, there is. Okay, you can. Yeah, document.location. Here we go. Right, so you can do it using JavaScript, right? Yeah, I was slightly incorrect there. So this technically counts because this is basically, if you use document.location, you're effectively faking clicking on a link in JavaScript. XHR won't work. Yeah, that's right. If you're using the basic functionality of redirecting within JavaScript, that works. But if you're trying to send a request using XHR, it won't. Yeah, there we go. It's complicated. What confuses me is if same site is a browser setting, is it meant to be something set server side, or is it always up to the client? Same site is same site is a cookie setting. So it's always set server side, but it's instructing the browser how to treat the cookie. So exactly in the same way that secure is set server side, but secure tells the browser never send this cookie over HTTP. Always send it over HTTP. And the same with this. HTTP only is set server side. In fact, I don't think you can set it client side because it would make no sense. But if you set this attribute server side, it basically means that you're telling the browser create a cookie, but make sure that JavaScript can't access it. Right? And this is basically just the same thing. It's just saying, hey, you can send this cookie to any site, no matter where the request came from. So you can send this cookie to this site, even if the request originated from somewhere else. That's what I'm saying. All right. Who is streaming? Are there any questions about that, by the way? I think B7 streaming. He's only been streaming for an hour and 40. I don't know if he's going to end soon, but we'll raid them. Any questions about that before we go? Weird issue the other day where the cross-site request for generation but worked in sending a forward request. At the same site attribute is none. Therefore lacks, but didn't work when I just copied the HTML made me on the server. I'm not sure why. Yeah, that is interesting. Yes, thank you. Yeah, I'll be starting at Nets by tomorrow. It should be fun. Alright, let's start the raid. Raid has been created. Okay, we're gonna go to my stream ending. Thank you for joining me on Wednesday. Please follow me on Twitter, join the Discord server, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and of course follow me on Twitch. If you're not already following me. Why aren't you following me? I will be back on Monday. As I said before at the beginning of the stream, I'm not sure what time. I am obviously going to be working. I don't know if they're going to let me stream
Thank you
at
for
2.
following.
If they, hopefully, but hey, if not, I'll be back to my 5 p.m.
Thank
schedule,
you for following.
which we did a couple of years ago. So I'm sure we'll sort something out eventually, but
Thank you for
I'll
following.
post a message in my Discord. Thank you for all the follows. Appreciate it, everybody. All right. Let's raid B7H30 and say a big hello. And yeah. I will see you Monday.